first, Mako. Our coffee right here. Designer Notes Subject 114. It's that time once again for another Zelos release. A much anticipated event that microbrand fans follow more closely than ants to freshly baked creme brulee. Sweet things spoken for, there's a green watch on our table today and a review to kick off. Here's why this delicious titanium Mako is just too savory a deal to pass up. Like, comment, and subscribe for content you'd like to see next. Follow us at Instagram at DesignAtelierAruba for behind-the-scenes content. Email us at DesignAtelierAruba@gmail.com. This video is brought to you by Zelos Watches. The case measures in at 40mm in diameter with a 46mm lug-to-lug distance. The thickness is 11.5mm without the crystal, climbing up to almost 14mm with the box sapphire included. The lug width is a convenient 20mm that opens a ton of strap options to supplement your purchase. Inside the Mako is the Miyota 9015. That's a thin workhorse movement that's also a high beat caliber at 28,800 bph. This is virtually the same specifications with the existing Mako V3 collection, except that this new subline is made of titanium. The weight of the titanium case is immediately noticeable. For an enthusiast that's used to handling steel on a daily basis, the titanium Mako will be a refreshing accessory to mix up your daily routine. It feels very light on my 6¼ inch wrist because of the material and its slim proportions. Aside from this high-grade material, this Mako looks quite identical to the existing steel Makos. You can observe all of the hallmarks familiar to the collection. The angled and curving chamfers provide the streamlined profile for the watch. These chamfers are polished nicely, giving the desirable sheen we love about these mechanical contraptions. This is even more noticeable on the uniquely fluid crown guard. From the top, it starts from the base of the lug that gradually protrudes out to about half of the crown height. From the side, it tapers aggressively from the base to the tip. This creates a narrowing effect, since especially when your eyes could not escape this shape. While we're still focused on the side of the case, the lugs are noticeably short, 46mm short to be precise. It has this modest curve that's in contact with your wrist, providing comfort. The rest of the side facets are clean with evenly applied vertical brush finish. This contrasts nicely with the polished chamfers. While some may still wish to have some drilled lug holes, I'm glad that it's absent here. The box sapphire crystal, along with a curved bezel, contributes to the contour of the whole watch. The crown is at the Seiko position of 4 o'clock, that's safely out of the wrist and very easy to access. It's an expected screw-down crown that secures the watch up to 300 meters. Out with the familiar and in with the new. The full titanium case and bracelet gets the top billing with this unique tactile impression and subtle dark tone. Grade 2 titanium is used all over this watch, but Zelos brings in the technology from the Mirage 8 day of hardening titanium. This Mako is especially coated to attain a 1200 Vickers of hardness, which is 5 times harder than steel. This is harder than what Damasco, Zinn, or even Hublot offers in many of their watches. With scratch resistance that's just less than half of the Vickers of a sapphire crystal, you can expect less wear and scuffs from everyday use. One of the parts that often show the rigors of life is the bracelet. The bracelet is similar in design with the older Makos but upgraded in titanium. This clasp features a well-appreciated micro adjustment that ratchets out for your swelling cuffs. The only drawback is that this had to be in stainless steel and not in titanium. This bracelet features a twin-lever, quick-release spring bar mechanism. Strap changes should be very accessible with these new Makos. The end link sits flush to the case, but because of the step just before the center link, the visual design is interrupted. I much prefer the integration found on the Swordfish. Hopefully, this is something that we could see in the future. The rest of the bracelet articulates well with its decent sized links. Their chamfered edges is also adorned with beautiful mirror polish finishes. Switching this out for a different strap is very easy and extends its value and wearability with the various strap options available. Up close, the now famous swirling dial graces your attention and delivers a very animated light play. It references a whirlpool that is appropriate for a diver's watch. It's a majestic green that takes advantage of both its textured surface and colorful tone. The middle area is bursting with this lively green hue that fumes itself to black as it gets to the outer edges. At the perimeter of this dial is a chapter ring that's quite a bit darker than the previous green dialed Mako. The date window is at the 6 o'clock position with no frame. The cutout does resemble the quarter markers, which is a plus for design nerds like me. These are also custom-made date wheels that's matched to the model's dial. The rest of the indexes are discs that matches all the rest of the round markers found in the chapter ring and bezel. These indices are framed with gilt linings that's matched to the logo and hands. Being a Zelos watch, the legendary lume on the indices and of course on the bezel inserts are all present in this titanium Mako. Also notice that there are two different lume applications, with most being the green C3 Super Luminova. The blue BGW9 lume are found on the seconds hand and minute markers. Even the crown has a generous application of lume. Not that you need to operate the crown in the dark, but you could do it if you wanted to. Speaking of fidgeting things, the bezel is solidly built. It has a subtly muted green tone opposed to the leafy green dial. It utilizes a tarnish-resistant ceramic bezel with a circular brush finish, all set on a titanium bezel. The bezel grip has a wider indentation with a crisp tactile feel. This makes it easy for the bezel to operate in all its 120 clicks of glory. Operating the movement is rather straightforward as well. Unscrew the crown and wind the movement for the neutral position. The first step is for the date changing, and the last step is for setting the minute and hour hands while hacking the seconds hand. The Miyota 9015 is a fairly reliable movement, losing just a couple of seconds per day. It's also relatively thin for a movement that helps with the thin dimensions of the case. We've handled a watch with a similar movement and specs before, the Zelos Blacktip. The Blacktip measures only a millimeter larger but actually looks more imposing than the Mako because of its flatter dial and bezel. The Blacktip is also longer at the lug-to-lug department, contributing to the larger perception. Against the Swordfish 40, the proportions are nearly identical with 40 and 46 millimeters respectively. The Swordfish is a lot boxier with its angular facets, driving a great divide against the curvy shapes of the Mako. Versus another Swordfish, the differences are numerous, but the titanium's distinct color draws the similarities. Although the titanium on the Swordfish is rather muted compared to this glossy, well-coated titanium of the Mako. Finally, beside the Submariner, the Mako looks a lot more slim and narrow, especially the crown placement. The sub extends sideways with its crown and crown guards, giving it a bulky profile. And yeah, those maxi case lugs only adds to the heft. Pricing begins at $449 for the regular Whirlpool dials, $469 for the blue mother pearl model, and $549 for the meteorite dial version. These are made on a wider batch, so there should be plenty for everyone to purchase. These are very sweet deals. It's a 300-meter diver with an exceptional dial, upscaled material, and brand reputation. Serving these on a Tissot, Hamilton, or even Omega table is still a possibility, although the tab at the end of the meal may be a little harder to swallow. But you don't walk into a Zelos party to swallow sustenance. You savor every detail, relish on its spices, fancy its presentation. And hey, you can personally kiss the chef too. The Mako is already a fantastically refined watch that's now upgraded significantly and even easier to get. While a certain green and gold brand is the complete antithesis of what we've been talking about, the Zelos Mako V3 Titanium is a sweet watch to talk about that's actually on your table.